Hey Reddit, I need to get this off my chest. I never thought I'd be that guy who comes on here to spill his relationship drama, but life has a twisted way of putting you in situations you never imagined. My name's Jake, I'm 28, and I've been dating my girlfriend Emily, 27, for the past 3 years. At least, I thought I knew her. Emily and I met at a mutual friends party. It was one of those nights where you just click with someone, you know? I remember we spent the entire evening on the porch talking about everything. Dreams, fears, our favorite childhood memories. By the end of the night, I was hooked. She was funny, smart, and had this quirky habit of twirling her hair when she got nervous. I fell hard. For the first couple of years, everything was perfect. We went on spontaneous road trips, had date nights at little hole-in-the-wall diners, and even adopted a stray cat we named Oliver. I really thought I'd found my person, but then things started changing. It was subtle at first. Emily would cancel plans at the last minute, claiming she was too tired from work or had to stay late for some project. I didn't think much of it at first. Work gets crazy, right? But then there were the phone calls. She'd step out of the room to answer them, always keeping her voice low. When I'd ask who it was, she'd wave it off like it was nothing important. "Oh, just a colleague," she'd say with a dismissive smile. But something didn't sit right. The turning point came about a month ago. I was looking for my keys in her purse. She'd borrowed them earlier that day, and I found a receipt for a hotel stay. I remember feeling like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. The date on the receipt was from a weekend when Emily had told me she was visiting her parents. My mind went into overdrive. Was she meeting someone else? Was it innocent and I was just being paranoid? I tried to play it cool, not wanting to jump to conclusions. But once that seed of doubt was planted, I couldn't ignore it. Over the next few weeks, I started paying closer attention. She was texting more often, always tilting her phone away when I was near. One night, I noticed she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she took a shower. I didn't plan on snooping, but my hands moved on their own. I unlocked her phone, yeah, I knew her passcode, and found a series of texts with someone named Liam. The messages weren't explicitly romantic, but there was a familiarity that made my stomach turn. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing," one message read. Emily had responded with a heart emoji. I didn't confront her right away. I needed to know more. Over the next week, I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. I felt disgusting, like some kind of stalker, but I had to know the truth. One evening, when she said she was meeting a friend for drinks, I trailed her car from a safe distance. She didn't go to a bar. She went to that same hotel from the receipt. I waited outside, heart pounding, for over an hour. When she finally emerged, she wasn't alone. A tall guy with dark hair was with her. They laughed as they walked to his car, and I watched as he leaned in to kiss her. That was it. My world shattered in that moment. I drove home in a daze, my mind racing between rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. The confrontation happened the next day. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I waited until she got home from work, and as soon as she walked through the door, I laid it all out. The receipt, the texts, the hotel. She just stood there, eyes wide, like a deer caught in headlights. "Jake, it's not what you think," she stammered. "Oh, really? So you weren't at a hotel with some guy named Liam?" Her face paled. "It's complicated. Turns out, Liam wasn't her lover. He was her brother." "Yeah, you read that right. Her brother." I didn't know Liam existed because Emily never talked about him. Apparently, their family had a messy past. Liam was estranged from their parents after a huge falling out, and Emily had been secretly reconnecting with him. She hadn't told me because she was afraid of dredging up old wounds and didn't want to involve me in the family drama. At first, I didn't believe her. The texts, the hotel, it all felt too suspicious. But then she showed me pictures, old family albums, and even messages from Liam explaining their situation. Slowly, the pieces started to fit. The hotel stays were because Liam lived out of state, and they'd been meeting there to catch up. I wanted to believe her, but the trust between us was shattered. I told her I needed time to process everything. Over the next few weeks, we had some long, emotional talks. I could see the guilt in her eyes, how much it hurt her that she'd kept something so big from me. I wasn't blameless either. I had let my suspicions fester instead of talking to her openly. Eventually, we started going to couples therapy. It wasn't easy, but it helped us rebuild that trust brick by brick. I learned to communicate better, and Emily learned that she didn't have to carry her family's burdens alone. It's been about 6 months since all of this went down. We're in a much better place now, but I won't lie. There are still moments when those old doubts creep in. The difference is, we face them together now. Life has a way of surprising you, sometimes in the worst ways and sometimes in the best. For us, it was a little of both. I'm just glad we didn't let it break us. Anyway, thanks for reading if you made it this far. Relationships are messy, but damn, they're worth fighting for. So, what do you think? Would you have forgiven her? Even though things were improving, the aftermath of that night wasn't something I could just forget. There were moments when I'd catch myself overthinking. I'd hear Emily's phone buzz and feel my chest tighten. I wasn't proud of it, but rebuilding trust takes time. And sometimes the scars from suspicion linger longer than you expect. One night, Emily noticed my unease. We were watching a movie on the couch, and her phone lit up with a notification. I must have flinched or something because she paused the movie and gently grabbed my hand. "Hey," she said softly, "I don't want you to keep feeling like this. You can check my phone if you want." I shook my head. "No, that's not it. I don't want to be that guy who needs to check his girlfriend's phone. It's just, I'm trying, you know?" She squeezed my hand tighter. "I know, and I want you to know that you can always ask me anything. No more secrets." "Okay." Hearing her say that should have brought me peace, and for a while it did. But there was another twist coming, one neither of us saw coming. A couple of weeks after that conversation, I was cleaning out the closet in our spare room. We were finally planning on turning it into a proper office space since Emily had been working from home more often. As I was sorting through some old boxes, I found an envelope tucked between a stack of photo albums. It wasn't marked with anything, so I figured it was just old mail. But when I opened it, I found a stack of photos. And these weren't your typical happy family snapshots. They were photos of Emily, with Liam. They looked happy, smiling at some park or something. But then there were other pictures, ones that looked almost staged. In one, Liam had his arm around Emily's waist in a way that seemed too intimate. My mind raced. What the hell was I looking at? I confronted Emily as soon as she got home. "What are these?" I demanded, thrusting the photos in her face. Her eyes widened in shock. "Where did you find these?" "In the closet. Care to explain?" She hesitated, her face turning red. "Jake, those photos are fake." "Fake?" I laughed bitterly. "They sure look real to me." "No, seriously," she insisted. "This is what I was afraid of. My dad. He's the one who took those photos. He's not a good man. When Liam left home, my dad spread all these disgusting lies about him and me, saying we were involved." Her voice cracked. "It's why Liam cut off contact for so long. He wanted to protect me from all that." I stood there, stunned. My mind flashed back to all the times Emily had avoided talking about her family. It suddenly made sense. The secrecy, the guilt. She wasn't just hiding Liam from me. She was hiding years of trauma. I sat down on the edge of the bed, feeling like an idiot. "Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." "Of course you didn't," she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "I didn't want you to. It's not exactly something I'm proud of." I wrapped my arms around her, holding her as she sobbed into my shoulder. In that moment, I realized how much I had underestimated the weight she'd been carrying. All this time, I had been so caught up in my own fears of betrayal that I hadn't seen the bigger picture. The following weeks were a whirlwind of revelations. Emily opened up to me about her past in ways she never had before. Her father had been controlling and manipulative, constantly pitting her and Liam against each other. When Liam finally escaped that toxic environment, her father retaliated by spreading vile rumors. It was the kind of thing you'd expect to see in some trashy soap opera, not real life. Therapy became even more important after that. We started attending individual sessions in addition to our couples therapy. I learned how to manage my insecurities, while Emily worked through the trauma her father had inflicted on her family. Slowly, We started to feel like a team again, stronger and more united than ever. One day, Emily asked me something that caught me off guard. "Jake, would you ever want to meet Liam? I think it might help, for both of you." I thought about it for a while. Part of me was still uneasy about the whole situation, but I knew it was important to her. So, I agreed. The meeting was awkward at first. Liam was guarded, understandably so, but as we talked, I began to see what Emily saw in him. He was protective, kind, and fiercely loyal to his sister. By the end of the night, we were cracking jokes over beers, and for the first time, I felt like I truly understood the people I loved. Liam even made a toast at the end of the evening. "To new beginnings," he said, raising his glass, "and to family, chosen or otherwise." So yeah, that's where things stand now. It's been a wild ride, and I still have moments where I wonder how we made it through all that. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that love isn't about perfection. It's about facing the hard stuff together, even when it feels like the world is falling apart. Thanks for sticking with me through this crazy story. If you're going through something similar, just remember, trust can be rebuilt. You just have to be willing to fight for it. Anyway, that's all for me for now. Cheers, Reddit. It's funny how life can take you on a journey you never expected. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be sitting across from the brother of the girl I thought was cheating on me, laughing and bonding over stories about her ridiculous obsession with bad reality TV, I would have called you insane. But here I was. Emily and I kept working at our relationship, and each day things got a little easier. The anxiety that used to grip me when her phone buzzed was fading, and I could finally start trusting again. I wasn't perfect. There were still moments of doubt, but I was learning how to communicate rather than let those thoughts fester. And Emily was learning how to open up instead of burying her pain. Eventually, Emily decided to take a huge step, one I didn't expect. She reached out to her parents. Despite everything her father had done, she wanted to confront him, to demand answers and reclaim her peace. I was hesitant at first. I didn't want her to get hurt again, but she was determined. She told me, "I can't move forward with my life if I keep running from my past." So, we made the trip together. I stayed in the car while she went inside, giving her the space she needed but staying close in case things got ugly. I watched from the driveway as she and her father exchanged words. I couldn't hear what was said, but the tension was palpable. At one point, her father raised his voice, but Emily didn't back down. She stood her ground, strong and unflinching. It was like watching her reclaim a part of herself. When she finally walked back to the car, she had tears in her eyes but a look of relief on her face. "It's over," she whispered. "I told him everything I needed to say. He doesn't control me anymore." That moment was a turning point. After years of living in the shadow of her father's manipulation, Emily was finally free. And with that freedom came a renewed sense of hope for both of us. Fast forward to now, Emily and I are stronger than ever. We're still in therapy, but it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It feels like a commitment to each other, to keep growing, learning, and being honest. I even proposed a few weeks ago. Nothing too flashy, just the two of us at our favorite spot by the lake. She said yes, of course, and now we're planning a small, intimate wedding with the people who mean the most to us. Liam? He's become like a brother to me. He jokes that he'll give a dirtbag older brother speech at the wedding, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Looking back, it's wild to think about how close we came to losing everything over a series of misunderstandings. But sometimes, life puts you through hell to test what's really worth fighting for. For me, that was Emily. And I'm damn glad I didn't give up. Thanks again for listening, Reddit. Life's a mess, but maybe that's what makes it beautiful. TLDR, thought my girlfriend was cheating on me. Turned out her secret lover was actually her estranged brother. Uncovered a lot of family trauma and misunderstandings, but we worked through it. We're engaged now and stronger than ever. Life is weird, but sometimes it works out.